Fear stops people from doing a lot of things. So
It does, man. But then they're gonna be faced with that regret down the road, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that scares me is when I look back in my life when I'm like 80, 85, and I'm regretting all the shit that I didn't do, you know?
yeah, they say all the best ideas are in the cemetery.
Unfortunately, man, I hate it.
People don't move on stuff that's been great ideas throughout the years, and they keep it to themselves. And so, but yeah, definitely. I mean, I like what you're doing, especially connecting people. Anything like this that connects people, I always want to support as much as possible, especially since you're local and things of that nature too. So,
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, man.
no problem.
Yeah, I'm pumped to do this, man. I was excited. You were like one of the first people I messaged, I think, originally, but I'm glad you got back with me and you want to do it now. So,
Yeah, I apologize. I just
nah,
I'm always bouncing, so I had to rush back to the office today to make sure we met for our 12 o'clock. So
for sure. I got you, man. I appreciate it. And so we're going to just go ahead and start jumping in. So
okay.
what were you doing before you made that entrepreneurial jump into the company that you are with now?
Yeah, so when I first started, I actually started out of school. I started with another business and worked my way up there. When I first started, I was working part time. I was still in school. I was getting $8 an hour to deliver shingle samples and things of that nature. It was still a home improvement business. When I was in school, I never thought that I would be in home improvement. Actually, a friend of mine was working there, connecting some computers and things of that nature. And, he had said, hey, my friend I was transferring schools back to Annapolis, Indiana. He said, my friend knows how to do some marketing. I just didn't know that marketing was dropping off shingle samples. So I ended up falling in love with the company. And, I worked my way. When I graduated, they offered me a sales position. I did well there. And then they had me go help out some other offices. I did well there. And then eventually I worked my way up. They gave me partial ownership of the whole company. So as far as Home Improvement Pros, which is my company, and then also Leisure Investments, which is my real estate investment company, I've always had this bug to like do something, from the ground up, if that makes sense. I
Oh,
mean,
100%. Yeah.
I helped my last company grow. I mean, we grew substantially, but it was not something that I started from zero, right?
Exactly. It's
So
your turn now. Like you learned all these different
yeah,
little things and got all these perspectives. Now it's my turn. I get it, man. I
exactly.
like it.
That's the main thing. I mean, it's one of those things where like, I was comfortable there, right? And I've learned throughout the years doing all my reading and studying and things like that. So comfort keeps you complacent. So, and that's why when we started off before this talking about fear, it was fearful. Not to mention it was just one of those things where I was so comfortable. It was good company. Work my way up, and do I really want to start over? Do I really want to, start at zero? Now, I wish these times right now that we're going through didn't happen, but it's taught me so much, right? So it's just I always preach is if you can survive it, you can learn from it. So I've always had the entrepreneur bug. I didn't know that, but I was just helping the previous business grow. So I was glad I made the jump.
Yeah. Once you got a taste for it, you're like, okay, like this is
Yeah,
definitely something I want to get into, build something of my own. I
absolutely.
love it. I love, and you
Yep.
also do like, because I see you post some like short-term rentals and stuff like that. So what is that
Yeah.
exactly that you have? Go ahead.
Yeah. So for my leisure investments, we have it's a real estate investment group that I own and manage. So we invest in long-term rentals, flips, then also short-term. So we have I think about 35 to 38 short-term rentals in downtown Louisville. So really, it's a great market for that. We have a great location. We're right there on Third and Broadway, surrounded by all sorts of attractions. I mean, the KFC Yum, Fourth Street Live. 8 Up is down the street. The Brown Theater is next to one of our buildings. So just plenty of things that you can walk to. Then also too, we have great spacious units at affordable cost that the whole families can stay in. So that's part of my real estate investment group, and I do allow other people to invest within it. That's my other thing too. I fell in love with real estate, right? I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of the time I spent years and years reading about it, learning about it, but it's one of those things that, every mentor I have says, look, you can read about it all day, but until you get started, that's the number one, right? Just get started, right?
Yeah.
It's fear and then starting. So
100%. And then you're going to learn ridiculous amount through that trial and error process. I mean, you got all the like logistical side of things about how you can approach certain situations, but when you don't go hand in hand in that situation, you know,
Yes.
you got to
Yeah.
learn it. I love it.
Yeah,
Good,
I
man.
still remember. I still own my first house that I bought. As far as investment wise,
Mhm.
it's on Linden. I still own that house. I mean, when I first bought that house, it was just me. I was just kind of scared as could be. Right? Am I gonna get this rented out? I mean, what's gonna happen? But I still own it to this day, and I got the best education I ever got from purchasing that house. I mean, just figuring things out, and that was 5, 6 years ago, right? So I learned a lot from it. It's what helped build me to this day. So I got some sentimental attachments to that particular property. But again, it was years of people telling me to get started, right? Same thing for entrepreneurship, right? I mean, just try it at least, right? Try it and try it and try it. You might fail a couple of times, but stick with it.
Yeah, 100%. And I was just talking with a guy yesterday, and there's another thing we were talking about to where people that don't know what their passion is, so like they're not going to have any drive to be able to go push themselves to actually go do something. So
Correct.
a big thing is like just going out and starting your own little sales process, like flipping little items here and there, just so you can get a
Yep.
full understanding inside, away from an institution that you might be working for or something like that. Like it's always good to get an idea of a sales process. So when you get into that, like you start selling your own product, things that you love, things that you enjoy. But if you don't get an understanding of that, then that's the
Yeah.
best place you can start, I think.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. The other thing I'd add to that, I tell people the same thing. And then I also say, well, I mean, most of the time, I'd say majority of the time, if you have a hobby, you're not the only person that likes that hobby, right? So if you find a niche within that hobby or something you like to do, you can get sales from that too. I mean, I'm hard pressed to find that you're the only person that likes something, right? I mean, especially with the ages of social media. I mean, we probably wouldn't be connected if it wasn't for, LinkedIn and
Yeah.
things like that, or at least not as soon, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that we can touch people all over the world on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Just find what you like to do and explore. I mean, again, out of school, I never thought I'd be in home improvement. I never thought I'd be in real estate. Throughout the years, I just fell in love with that stuff by trying it. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. When did you go to school around here too, or
Now I'm
where'd you
from
go?
Indiana, so I went to
Cool. That's where I'm
Indiana.
at. I'm right across the bridge too.
Yeah, so I'm from Indianapolis. I went to IU and then transferred to IUPUI last year or so. So I'm from originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. So I
Where'd you
lived
live
in
at up there?
so I lived in Pike Township.
I don't know where I was in. I was towards Speedway. I went up there for a couple years. I was in flight school up there.
Yeah, so about 15 minutes from you.
Okay, okay, I got you.
15 minutes. Yeah, Speedway is not too far.
Okay, I got you. So you're
Yeah.
more closer towards Indy then? You mean obviously you're IUPUI, so
Yeah, closer to Indy. So
like
if you
downtown
hit
rather.
the
That's what I meant.
downtown, it's probably about 20 minutes from downtown. So it's
I got
towards the
you.
First Street area, that type of stuff. So.
So what brought you down here? Was it a job opportunity that brought you down here, or?
Yeah, again, previous company, we had an office here that we needed to make a transition at. So I was asked to come here and help out. So I've been here about 6 years. So that's what brought me to Louisville, at least.
Yeah. So you're gonna stay here and conquer this territory and jump around, or you home? Like, is this home now?
Yeah, I mean, it's home. That I got big growth goals. So I mean, I plan on growing, especially with the real estate realm. So I mean, the idea is to go from Kentucky, Indiana, Midwest, regional, national, and sometimes willing international type done. So I got some big goals and dreams. So
You have to, man. Keeps you
yeah,
going. Keeps you
yeah,
competing.
no such thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dreaming, right? So
If you're
you work
executing, yeah, you're right. Which you are 100%.
definitely, yeah,
So
one
I
day at
hate,
a time,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, man. One day at a time.
Yeah,
Trial and error, learn what you can and keep moving. That's it.
definitely,
Even on your
definitely.
losses, when you lose, it's like, okay, it's a little adjustment. Let's take a step back, reevaluate. Let's start moving
Yeah,
forward again. That's it.
yeah. That's one of those philosophies. It's something so simple that people don't. I don't. Not to be cliche, but the whole "I don't believe in failure" type thing. Just keep learning, keep growing, keep going. A lot of times that you're very close to your goal that you want to get to, but right before that, people quit. So I really have kind of lived my life based on that, especially the last 5, 10 years. And to be honest, I don't compete with people, but one of the things that drives me is like I just think that, we're all humans, right? So it's like these other humans are doing these things, why couldn't I? I mean, why couldn't you? Why couldn't, I mean, we're all humans. Nobody, to my knowledge, is born superhuman. So you might as well, and also too, the playbook's been written, right? So I do a lot of kind of, networking, talking to people, because I learn a lot from people too.
Yeah.
We don't have to rewrite everything, right? We just, sometimes it's as simple as following the playbook.
Up 100%. Follow someone that's successful, and then you're gonna find your own path within their path, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then most of the time too, if people see something in you, that most people are generally willing to help. I mean, I know a lot of times people think the other way. It's just, people, you have to show people that you're capable, right? I mean, I think sometimes it's easy to take the easy way out and say, well, so and so doesn't want to help me, as opposed to, well, maybe they just don't see that you're truly passionate about what you're asking about, right? But we're so connected nowadays that there's not many people that we couldn't reach out to and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm looking to do. Do you have 5 minutes I could talk to you? I mean, be honest with you, on LinkedIn, and probably won't share the name, but I sent an email to one of the largest property owners in the world, right? So I'm like, let me just send a LinkedIn message. I'm like, okay. And then 2 days later, I get a response. I'm like, okay, well, this is probably his staff or something like that. I'm like, well, I got a couple questions, and he's answering them. I'm like, this is really him. Because
Yeah.
the questions were being answered to the point where I was like, I don't think that's his staff. I think it's really
Yeah.
him. And he said it was him, and all I did was send a message, right? So it's like, didn't have to take the time to reply back, but you know, he did, right? So it's just trying to connect with people. I mean, I'm also a believer that you can learn from anybody. I mean, even if it's, I don't know, if somebody calls them worst person in the world, whatever, you can learn something from
Oh yeah,
somebody, right?
you'll learn how not to do something.
Exactly. So
Take
I'll
every. Go ahead.
no, no, you can go, you can go.
Yeah, I was just saying, take every little perspective, even the bad, the good, take them
Exactly.
all and create your own. That's all
Yes.
you can do is watch. That's it.
Yep.
Observe everything that's going on around you and take it in.
Yep. And try, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
that's a big
thing.
one.
People forget to just try, right? I mean, our minds. I do this thing too. Where I study the brain because it also helps with sales and marketing. I'm not a brain expert, but I mean, what I have learned over the years is your mind is made to protect you, right? So when something feels uncomfortable, it tells you not to do that, right? Because it's trying to keep you away from. It kind of senses harm, right? Hey, this isn't comfortable. This isn't comfortable. Let's get back to comfort so I can go to rest, right? So finding that uncomfortable state, as we had talked about, you have to be able to push through that, right? I mean, a lot of times as we started this conversation, we had said, people don't try the entrepreneur thing because it's too uncomfortable for them, right? But once you get over that, you'll see that, others are doing it. So why
Yeah,
can't you, right?
it's just a different game than you were playing before. That's all it is. And but we're
Yeah,
all at the end. We're all just people trying to pursue some things that we love. That's
exactly.
you
I
know.
mean, I got some mentors that are, they're older and stuff like that. They said they wish they were entrepreneurial, like as far as starting out during these times, right? Because things have leveled out some, right? I mean,
For sure.
back in the days, if we wouldn't be able to connect like this without an extreme amount of money, and now things have leveled out to where it's affordable. So as they state, there's no better time to be an entrepreneur than now, right? I mean, you can literally, again, as we mentioned, start with your hobby. It's just put that on the end.
Infinite marketplace, literally
Exactly.
infinite. Like
Yeah.
I watched this ridiculous thing. It was like this girl makes like moose droppings and makes them into these little characters, and she
Yeah.
freaking sells them, and she's sustaining her own business. She does that full time.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, but it's literally an infinite marketplace.
Absolutely. So it's
It's
like,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, it's like I'm sure it's not a problem if we mention this, but it's like that kid on YouTube that makes 20-25 million a year to play with toys. So
Just what does
you
he
know,
review them and do other little? Yeah, man,
he was the top each year. The last 2 or 3 years, or so. Don't quote me on the years, but the last couple at least, he's been one of the top producers. 20 to 25 million, and it all started as he was playing with a toy. His dad just picked up a camera, not to really post it anywhere, but it builds from zero to that kid making 20, 25 million and getting toys from everybody to play with for free.
That's crazy, man.
So,
From now the dad's like, okay, I'm done with my job. I got the camera on you all day, man. Let's do it. I'll edit it.
exactly.
Let's roll.
Exactly.
It is
But
crazy.
again, though, what better time than that? That couldn't have happened in the past, right? I mean, it's just YouTube, probably a free account. I mean, even if you pay the $10, $20 or whatever for the premium, now you're worth 20, 25 million a year.
Very, very low overhead.
Exactly. Exactly. I
10
think
bucks a month.
I think what we get into is just try something, right? I mean, try a hobby, try something you like, try something you're passionate about. Just get started on something. I mean, and there's nothing wrong. The other thing too, there's nothing wrong with working for somebody either, right?
Yeah.
There's one of those things that, like, some people like to work for people, be part of a team, and that's great too, right? But you can still have something on the side that you do to make some additional money,
Mhm.
additional income, and that type of stuff too. So it's
Oh, yeah.
whatever makes you happy. So
That's what I was about to get to. Like, if you're happy working, 40 hours a week and you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're happy, you come home happy, you wake up happy, don't change
yes,
a damn thing. Like, keep
exactly,
doing it.
exactly,
But if you're
exactly.
unhappy and you're miserable and you're complaining, you're not
Yeah,
going to go anywhere by just sitting here complaining. So why don't you get your ass up and go do some research and start executing as much as you can, fail, and then keep moving. That's it. It's cliche
what's
as
the best?
shit. Like every episode I talk about, cliche as shit. But like just discipline yourself into that cliche and go. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, add on to that, it's like life is short. I mean, I know we talk about it, but it is short, right? I mean, but to wake up, get in the shower every morning, and dread where you're going, and I get it. I mean, we all have responsibilities. We have families or whatever, right? But that should be more the reason why you make the jump, not less than the reason. Now, do it when it's best for you, obviously, right? But at least put some plans in place to make that transition. So.
Yeah, exactly. Don't just sit and dwell. And it's not gonna do anything. You're just gonna be like I said at the beginning, that facing that regret down the road, and you're gonna be real pissed off. I
Yeah.
mean, I think personally.
Yeah, I mean, at some point it takes off on your life too. I mean, waking up 5, 6 days a week and being miserable, it affects your family too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of the things that it's just not worth it, right? I mean, take a chance on yourself, take a chance on something, at least try it. And also too, you can do both. I mean, you can maximize work. We're not saying be a subpar employee, but then you can build something as you're doing that. And then you can more decide, okay, do I want to make the leap or do I not? As long as you're still giving to the company you're with and, you know, providing them the hard work. And then there's always time in the evenings, right? I mean, even if you got kids when they go to sleep, an hour or two building what you really want to do. I mean, there's time for everything that we want to make time for. So I think people forget that, right?
Yeah, no, they want to turn on Netflix when they get home.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the other thing I've been trying to get better at is like especially myself, because I run a lot of appointments, but we forget how much time we spend in our vehicles. I mean, I say it takes about 5 years to become an expert or something, but imagine how many hours per day, even if it's 2 hours, let's go lower. I mean, 2 hours per day times 5 days a week, that's 10 hours you could be learning something. I
something.
mean, and most people are in the vehicle more than 2 hours.
Yeah. And you can throw on a podcast, throw on anything you want. 'Cause there's literally podcasts around anything that you can
Exactly.
dream about. And so you can
Exactly.
learn something.
Yeah. I mean, as far as, and the other thing I like about, the social media and all that type of stuff is it's kind of, again, we said it lowers or it kind of evens out the playing field, right? I mean, it's not one of those things where you must go to college nowadays or you must have this degree, that degree. I mean, you can literally get what I call a degree in anything from YouTube,
YouTube
LinkedIn.
University, baby.
Exactly, right? So
Yeah.
in minutes you can get all the information that you need to learn something that you enjoy to do. So and also too, most people teach you how to do it, and majority of the time it's free.
And it's step by step broken down. You rewind it, watch it again. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
just actually
So
got to watch it, man.
it's a
That's
no-brainer.
that's that's a big one. How I got started was just going through a lot of the technical side of the work I do now. A lot of it was learned through watching other people on YouTube,
Yeah, trial and error, right?
and then I go practice it myself. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So Yeah, I mean, so I guess what made you make the leap? Same thing, or?
Oh, no one's ever flipped it back on me before. I actually, because I did do a lot of shit that I hated growing. I did like installing cabinets and like
Uh,
just stuff that I woke up hating to do. So I
yeah.
just kind of had to take a step back and reevaluate some things. I ran a business starting out when I
Uh-huh.
was 21 is kind of when I made my entrepreneurial jump. But I
Yeah.
started something that was easy to me because I worked within a construction company, started a
Okay.
cleaning business, and I
Okay.
hired immediately because I was like, okay, this is going by itself. Like it was a big mistake.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
hired people immediately, and I
Yeah.
stopped doing all the work, and not putting any money back into the company. But
Yeah.
that was the best learning experience ever. Was bringing that business up, letting it fail, and then I
Yeah.
figured out some things that I truly love. So now I'm in like video production, marketing, and distribution, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing now for 3 years. But I mean, yeah, that was it. It was just, I knew I wanted to start something, but I knew that after failing that business, I was like, you can't go out here and work at something every single day, even if it's mine. If you
Yeah.
don't love it, it's going to fall through the cracks. You're not going to last forever. A couple
Yeah.
years, 10 years maybe, but eventually it's going to cave in. So I just figured, I need to find something that I'm deeply in love with.
Yeah.
So I love like growing with people, creating content for them, helping their companies,
Yeah.
produce a better ROI. And I love it, man. Now what I do. And I love
Yeah.
this. 'Cause I get to connect with all people, like all types of perspective. Like I make it for the audience and stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I love it because I get so many perspectives,
Uh-huh.
within my head too. So it helps me keep going too. So I love this thing.
Yeah, I'm also big on journey too. Like, so I mean, if your cleaning experience didn't happen, would you still be the same person, right? So it's like you said, it might not have worked out, but how much of an education did you get from that, right? So
Oh yeah,
it made you jump to do this type of things and connect with people. So everything happens for a reason. So we all have our journey.
100%.
The journey is the funnest part, right?
Yeah, exactly. That takes discipline to get on I get on myself sometimes about loving my journey because I guess I get a little ahead of myself occasionally. But I have
Mhm.
been getting a lot better about that. But you're right. A
Okay.
lot of people, they want the end result, but they're not going to realize when they get to that end result, you're going to miss that journey because that process was ridiculously fun to get to that point.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to get to the results too, but I'm kind of one that as I study people, I mean, I don't need help spending money, right? I don't need, anybody can spend money. And like I always want to, I watch people how they built something, right? I mean, how they get it going, processes, procedures, what kept them motivated. I mean, what kept them, just that middle portion is what I really dig into, right? I mean, how did you do it? I mean, not what are you spending your money on now? I don't think we need lessons on that, but
Yeah. Well,
um,
100%.
yeah.
So, what is the big thing that made you jump in though? Because I know you're running that company. Like, what in your mind though made you actually take your lead?
Yeah, so I've actually thought about this a lot too. I mean, it's one of those things where, being an entrepreneur, yeah, it's stressful and but it's also very, very rewarding too, right? I mean, it's I've always had this dream and passion to want to build something and then also provide services and most importantly customer service in a manner of which I think sometimes some companies have gotten away from the customer service aspects, and also too what I call team service, right? You got to take care of your team, to take care of the customers. So I just wanted to build something that kind of was highly focused on people, and what we can offer and how we can work together, knowing that we're not perfect, but that's kind of why I made the jump. And I'm not gonna lie either, right? I hope to build something that provides for my family and provides for generations and things of that nature. And to be honest, I'm one of those weird people that like to work. I enjoy doing what I do, right? I mean, so I'm fortunate, right? I mean, maybe weird
Yeah,
is not the right word, but I'm fortunate to, no matter how many hours I put in, it goes by so quickly because I enjoy it.
I
So
know. I love it. I
yeah,
love it. I love seeing the passion too behind because when you get like, and that's the thing. A lot of people are like, "Damn, it's Monday. Damn, it's this." When you get to that
yeah,
point to where you're actually enjoying it, you're gonna lose track of days. I mean, you're gonna keep scheduled meetings, but you don't
yes,
give a shit that it's gonna be Monday. Like every day is the
yeah,
weekend because I'm just pumped. Like I'm pumped. Even when
exactly.
I'm asleep, I'm thinking about my meetings tomorrow, or how I can do something tomorrow. Just in my head, I'm like excited about like a little kid waking up for Christmas
Yeah,
type
I'm the
deal.
same way. I'm the same way. So it's hard to sleep sometimes, but I enjoy it though. I mean, it's just one of those things where like I'm thinking about it so much, just like you're saying, it's just it's not a bad thing. You just kind of think about the next day or what's the next move or what can you do to improve or reflect on the day and that type of stuff. So I've enjoyed it. I mean, the other thing too, it's like again, we get back to the cliche type stuff. I mean, I really part of the reason I did it is, for lack of better words, freedom, right? I mean, at some point you hope to build something that you're just not so entrapped into the system to where, it's you don't have to work till you're 60, 70, 80, unless you want to, because I'm sure I'll be one of those ones that work that late, but I don't want to have to do that, right? So I'm willing to put in the work now. I mean, to live for my family and I to live a better life in the second half, right? And then some people will give you some pushback on that and say, well, life is short. What if you pass before then? Well, I know I at least got a good start for my family, right? I mean, it's one of those things where life is short, but then also I counter that too. I say, well, life is long. What if you do live to your 80, 90, 100 and you haven't put in the work, then what?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing but regret. That's it.
Exactly. So
What
I'm
was the
happy.
yeah, the only thing that's gonna stop you is death. That's gonna like I mean, in your head, I might die, so I'm not gonna do this.
Exactly.
That's a
Well,
dumb. That's a dumb shit.
well, yeah,
Uh,
the other thing too, I mean, these days debt doesn't die, right? They pass it on to your family, they
yeah,
pass it on to your kids or your spouse or heck, if they
exactly.
could, your friends, right?
Yeah, yeah. And if people are watching you execute, I mean, a lot of them are going to be, excited to be, even if they're not really involved with it, they're excited to watch your process. So, like when your kids are even watching you and stuff like that, when, hopefully it is like 90, 100 when this all
Yeah.
folds under or whatever. But I mean, your kids are going to see that drive and the way you executed and how happy you were to do the things that you were doing. So that's going to create an atmosphere for them to where, like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not going to be stuck doing some shit I hate. Like, my dad did some amazing things that he loved. Like I want to do some stuff that I love, or I want to keep going with what he loved to keep that pushing forward.
Yeah, I mean you're exactly right. That's the other thing too. I mean, a lot of people equate success to the dollar bills that you've gotten. Well, it's not even all about that too. I mean, somebody could start up a smaller business, even something just on the side. They service 5 customers a year but they enjoy it, right? I mean, when you say entrepreneurship, by you, I mean us as a group, automatically people go to money, right? Okay, how big of an organization are you going to grow? Where I know a lot of small business, like the true definition of small business owners that are very happy. I mean, they don't need 100 customers, right? They're good with the 5, 10, 15, 20. They service them. They're repeat customers. They know them by name. They know their family's name, and they're good. They're paying their bills and they're happy. I mean, so I think it's important for people to understand that the word entrepreneurship doesn't always mean a multi-million-dollar business or a billion-dollar business. It's just doing something you like to do.
Exactly. And you get to eat by doing it. Just make enough to eat. That's it.
Exactly.
You
Enough to
don't
eat.
have.
Family's good, so you're good.
Yeah, you're waking up happy. Like that's it. And plus, a lot of people when they do get to that smaller business and they end up scaling it bigger down the road, they end up turning that happiness into unhappiness because it's past the level they thought they wanted to hear, but now it's just crazy because now they're dealing with ridiculous amounts of people. They don't,
Yes.
they're gonna lose that love and fall out. So a lot
Oh,
of people, yeah,
yeah. So you got to figure out what. It's not a one size fits all, right? I mean, that's again, entrepreneurship is such a broad word. It's. I think again, it goes back to how you started this. Just try something, right? I mean, if you like your job, stay. Always stay or enjoy it. But if you're one of those that's waking up daily just dreading it, right? I mean, why, right? I mean, I know the reason why is you have to do what you got to do for your family, but I think at some point your family would back you if have that hard conversation that this isn't truly what I want to do, right? I mean, you just put some plans in place. I mean, plans in place can help you make that transition to where it doesn't really touch your family at all. So as far as
exactly.
in a negative way. So,
And it might be a weird adjustment at first, but you're right. Like they will see your glow come like off of you, and that's going to create a better home atmosphere environment.
Yeah.
all around, I think if you're, yeah, just start working towards it. Even if you fear the resentment towards or from your peers or a spouse or from your kids. I mean, it takes discipline, but you got to block that out, and you got to
Yeah.
just, you just got to start, and then eventually people are going to see, like, most people are, that give you that shit too are the people that have never taken
Yeah.
that or learned that to make a
Yeah.
jump. Like, they're going to be doing the shit that they hate forever, and they have hate in their heart, and I hate that,
Yeah.
but you got to block it out.
Well, it's about believing, right? I mean, again, same thing as we had talked about, the mind tries to protect you. I mean, the family and close friends try and protect you too, right? I mean, so by them trying to protect you sometimes means you being complacent. And it comes with the conversation, well, you got a good job. Why would you leave? That type thing, right? That's their idea of of thinking that they're protecting you, keeping you safe, keeping you employed, keeping you paying bills
Mm.
forever. And they mean well, right? But at some point, it always starts and ends with you. I mean, if you truly believe in something, I mean, you're gonna have to make that jump. I mean, no one can do it for you, right? I mean, but you have to be willing to take conversations from the family and say, look, this is something I want to do. But I would say most families, it's not, or family and friends, it's not from a bad place, but they can absolutely keep you complacent and safe, right? As they
Yeah,
call it.
yeah. But you can
So
always get that job again. Like, I mean,
exactly.
and I'm not saying quit, like quit and then go figure it out. Like, no, hell no. Like, save up your money, figure out a nice approach to where you can do certain things, and then slowly start doing it while you're working, and then eventually you can make that jump. And then if it fails down the road, then you come right back to that same job you were just at, more than likely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
or along those lines, or you just, after I failed shit, I just went again. I was like, well, I got to find out what I love. Like,
Yep.
and then we go.
I mean, the world's so crazy now. I mean, with virtual assistants and that type of stuff, once you build it, you can still, it basically can run itself, right? I mean, depending on what space you're in, type stuff. But
Yeah.
all things are possible. But I think the gist of it is be happy in what you're doing, right? Because most of us have to work anyways, right? So if you got to work, and I think there's some stat somewhere that says we spend 70-80% of our lifetime at work, especially in
Yep.
America. So if we're gonna work anyway, do something that you enjoy to do. I mean, whether it's less money or more money, I'd rather take a little less money enjoying what I do, and then as opposed to just doing it for the money, right? And I get it. Well, me and you keep saying we know we have responsibilities as far as like the general world has responsibility, and we get that, right? But just try entrepreneurs. I mean, the other thing too, it's new because um, I don't want to go down this road, but schools and things like that are not teaching you entrepreneurship.
0%.
It teaches you to be a good employee, right? So
Get
the
in
whole system
line.
have been built around that portion. So it's kind of going against the grain when you say, "Hey, I want to be an entrepreneur," because you haven't learned that throughout the years, unless you were fortunate enough to have a family member of some sort, or a friend, or a next door neighbor, or somebody to help you get there. But we are all bred to be best employees that we can be.
Yo,
So
follow the line, get in line. That's it. I do hate that though, man. Education
yeah,
system is the one thing that's been outdated and they haven't adjusted to with the times
yeah.
whatsoever. It's ridiculous.
It needs some shifts, but it's one of those things like instead of saying school, or nothing else, I just said there's an or in there, right? Just give people options, right? You never know what's going to intrigue somebody. I mean, let them try different things, especially at a kid level, right? I mean, or child level. Let them experience different things and see what they like to do. But again, to each his own. Just try something, right? It's just like a lemonade stand. So, I mean, it's and the amount of people. I guess one of the things we can touch on the amount of people starting that you get to touch, like you said, us talking today, and the other people you talk to. It's just great to open up conversations, talk to different people around the world, different backgrounds, different things. I mean, that's if you take it away from just entrepreneurship stands, it just kind of helps the world when you connect with different people with different backgrounds, different work structures and things of that nature. So
Absolutely. I mean, if you're willing to accept other perspectives and not just think one sided, this is a
mhm.
huge tool for a lot of people. a
Absolutely.
huge tool. You know, like I love it. Like I think it's gonna, but I hate it though because a lot of people don't. Like they don't adjust yet, so they've been taught,
Mhm.
only to think a certain way. So,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I want to try to twist a little bit with these as well. Is I want to get, like you said, people from different backgrounds and the way they grew up and how they got started and what they're doing. Like this is going to build you because you have zero excuses. Everybody I've talked to, they either
Exactly.
came from nothing just like you or came from a hell of a lot worse circumstances than you can even fathom. You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
so there's really
Now,
no excuse not to go. Yeah.
exactly. Now more than ever, you got to try something. Find what you like. Most people know what they like. They might not think they can
Can make
monetize
money
it.
off it. Yeah.
I'm sure you find something, we YouTube it, Google it. There's others making money in the space. It's probably almost impossible not to be, making something from it because there's too many of us around the world to be the only person that enjoys something.
Oh,
It just
yeah.
doesn't happen.
Yesterday's episode, I even talked his son. He's an 11-year-old, and he does
Uh-huh.
like the NBA sports cards, and he flips those cards,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's killing it. I'm like, all these people out here whining. And I'm like, this kid's 11, and he
Yeah.
had like I've seen him. He even puts out his own content, hammers it
Mhm.
out. I'm like, this is the man right here. Like 11 years
Yeah.
old, killing it. That's just a prime example. I'm gonna bring him onto the show one day too, because I'm like,
That'd be
I'm
great.
intrigued for sure.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
I
Yeah,
think
I'd
it'd
love
be
to.
great for people, man.
Yeah, I mean and actually you just touched on the other thing too. We've been talking about making the jump from your employment and stuff like that to start a business. But that's the other thing too is if you say that you need to make additional money, I mean, whether it's those cards or the people that go to yard sales and stuff or buy something and then flip that. I mean, regardless of the fact you can make additional income just for a hobby, right? I mean, who wouldn't like an additional dollar or $5 or $100 just by going and get something, cleaning it up and reselling it, right? I mean, so if you like your job, you like your job. If you don't want to be, the guy, an entrepreneur, fine. But there's other ways to dabble based on your hobby to make more income. You can use that as your vacation money, right? You can
Yeah.
use that
And that might
for
even give you a taste to make that jump to actually like, damn, I got a taste. Like, I'm going
exactly,
now. Like,
exactly. You
exactly,
might as
man.
well, right? So,
Yeah.
so
Just go out. And
no,
when I said earlier, I said something about competing, and you said something about you're not always competing. But I think everybody should always have I always have competitions with myself. I'm very humanistic to everybody, and I love everybody, and I'm open for their perspective and their journey and the way they do
yeah,
things. But I'm always I'll dissect some things they say and figure out ways I could do it better. I'll never
mm,
say it out loud, but it's all in
yeah,
here. But
yeah.
in my head, I'll compete with myself. I'm like, okay, how can this be done better? How can this, and this? Always compete with yourself, but don't be hard on yourself too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. I don't compete against other individuals. I mean, I also have a saying, be better than yesterday. I mean, it's just if I learned one thing new or did something different than yesterday, I'm not. But people spend so much time. Again, there's some negative sides of social, right? You always want to see what people are posting. Oh, this person's doing better than me, and that type thing. I mean, it's not even about that, right? I mean,
No,
once you just stay focused on yourself, I mean, and get to where you're going. I mean, you may not know yet, and I don't know yet. And I told you how big and crazy my goals are. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not focused on trying to beat anybody except myself yesterday and last
exactly,
week, last month. That's it. So.
exactly. I love it, my man. What? How much time? I can't. How much time do I have you for? I don't. You got to go at
Oh, you
one.
good. I mean, I just got one, so I got about 10, 15, if you'd
Cool,
like.
cool, cool. I just didn't want to like start jumping in, and you're over here like, damn, I'm trying to go.
Oh
Okay.
no, no, you good. I appreciate this conversation. I mean, it's
No,
just
man, I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate your perspective.
yeah, that's been good. I mean, it's again, I love connecting people. But I can talk about business all day
I
and
know that's why I get these people going, and then you're talking about your passion. So it's like I've had people
exactly.
go for an hour and a half. I'm like, I
Yeah,
love it, man. I love it. People
yeah.
always ask me that too. They're like, how do you get these people to go so long? I'm like, I'm literally talking about the thing that they were absolutely in love with. So they'll go all day.
I think the great thing that you do is you make it a conversation. It's not just an interview. I'm going to ask you 6 questions. You answer these. I mean, I like these types of conversations, and I think they're more rewarding, entertaining. I mean, or educational, maybe the best word, but I'm always happy to share with anybody, everybody that's willing to listen to what made me make the jump. Because other people helped me too, as far as motivate me to make that jump and then finally get there. I mean, and I've just been, not that it hasn't been stressful, as you know, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see where both companies can go. Now more than ever, I think we have some prime opportunities to really get bigger than what we are. So
I think so too, man. I've been keeping up with your posts and everything. People love you. People love your company, the mission behind your company. Like,
yeah,
phenomenal, man. I love it.
I appreciate that. Like I said, it just goes back to the service realm. I mean, there's still a lot of companies out there that provide great service, but I'm one that, I'll go out of my way. I will pass 10 different shops that are the same shop to go to a shop that provides great service. Like, I'm all about customer service. I mean, that's just big to me. I mean, convenience is one thing, but great service and that, I pass 2 or 3 gas stations by my house to go to one in particular because the people there are just great.
I love that, man. And you're not the only one. That's like 80% of the people. That's what keep them coming back. So, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that they're more expensive or cheaper or whatever. Like, I just
It's the
go there.
experience. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like I'm winning, right? Because like their prices are about the same, and then you get that extra experience. So it's like, hey, I'm getting more bang for my buck type thing, right? I mean,
Exactly, man.
they're always smiling, waving, but yeah. So I've always wanted to build businesses. And again, we're not perfect, right? I mean, especially not myself, but we're learning, right? I mean, we're open to feedback. We always ask for feedback too. I know, people call it reviews, which is great, but I call it feedback. I mean, if you're doing some great stuff, double down on that. If there's something that you missed the ball on, hey, I hear you. Let me correct that as best as I can. But no, I look at reviews as feedback.
And
So
I love that. And I love the feedback. Like,
yeah,
that's what keeps us going to where we can adjust accordingly to keep us moving down the road further and further. We avoid those situations. We avoid,
exactly.
yeah,
And it's like, again, circling around the fear that we keep talking about. It's like sometimes a company won't push reviews because they're kind of afraid of what a person may say. It's just,
yeah,
well, you know, if you have that type of fear, then that's more the reason to push the reviews because that means there's something there that you're feeling that you don't want people to say.
exactly.
Might
You're
as well
seeing
lean into it.
100%, but they're in a little, that insecurity is not letting them. But you're right, because they know inside that there is a little bit of something that could be adjusted, but they want to actually hear it from their customers.
Correct.
But in the long term, you're going to see it play out because you're going to start losing, losing, losing. You know.
Yeah, it'll dwindle. I mean, customers are loyal. I mean, not even customers, just people that like the experience, right? I mean,
Hmm.
they call them customers or whatever, but I'm loyal
To
there's
the
a
people,
select few
man.
places that I
Yeah.
go to like all the time as far as, because I just like the people there. I mean, I do a lot of things for people as far as like I will go somewhere because the people there are great, right? I mean, I enjoy being there. I enjoy talking to them, etc. So it's just the experience is great.
Absolutely, my man.
So
I love it. What you got? What you working on today? I know you got to run at one. So what you got working?
I got another. I got a conference call. Well, no, another Zoom call. Let's say with a
Yeah.
potential investor on our short-term stay business at 1 o'clock. So they're in Annapolis. So we're meeting up and talking on Zoom to discuss potential investments. So
4 properties up in Indy, right? Is that
now
where you're
for
going to
here,
put them? They're going to put them for here. Okay. Okay.
yeah, the short-term stays here. So I got a few investors from out of state. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we get back on the connectivity of social media, and this person's somebody I've known for years from my previous years. But I've been able to connect with people in Washington, Chicago. I mean, so we have our company is fortunate enough to have investors from all over. But could that have happened without the connectivity of social?
Probably not, or very delayed. Yeah, you're right.
Would
But
be at
that's cool
least
though, because with all those investors, that does keep your network like going, even outside of you. If you're not even there, like this investor,
yeah,
like because of that customer service experience that you have, which I'm sure you put back on the investors through you as well. Because just talking to you, you're an amazing
yeah,
person. I can already tell. So
appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to talk about you when you're not in the room in a very good way to other investors to get you, you're going to be okay if you keep
I
approaching the
hope,
way you are.
I hope so. I mean, again, to echo what you said a while back, is I'm just one of those. I talk to anybody and everybody. People always say, "Well, why do you share so much?" Well, one, it's not my information, right? Like I said, I follow the playbook, and two, it's not a hidden secret. I mean, we talk about YouTube and all that type of stuff, so I'm always willing to discuss with others. I'm just big on my other focus lately has been getting people involved with investments, particularly real estate, because I don't know the stock market. I don't play the stock. Like that's just real estate is what I know. So that's my focus. But what I've been telling people is like, we got to think about the second and third generation, but then most importantly, we got to think about ourselves too, right? So, throughout this convo, we've been talking about having two or three sources of income. That's one of those ways too. The other thing that people need to get more involved in is really having your money work for you, right? I mean, there's companies like ourselves and others that are giving, 6, 8, 10, 12% return on your money, as opposed to what it's making in the saving or checking account.
No.
So it's, while you're working, your money should be at work too. You guys should both be clocking in at the same time.
Hell yeah. No, they should be working while I'm sleeping,
Exactly.
man. That's what I want.
Yeah, I've been big on kind of pushing that stuff too. I mean, I grew up differently, right? I didn't. My dad worked hard, and like, I didn't have these types of conversations, right? So now that I know them, I'm just trying to share it with as many people as possible, so so they can get involved and figure out ways to really have our own whatever our definition of success or wealth is, right? I mean, it's again, wealth is not always millions or billions. It could be just covering the mortgage, taking care of your family, an extra trip per year. But I think things like this, like our investment group or other people's investment groups, I do say research the company, the person leading it, and that type of stuff. But it gives you a realm to open up different doors for you. And then, if you have multiple buckets that are filling, hopefully then that might, heck, your investments may give you that extra push to start your business that you're looking to do. So,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
So you started, I know you got to go though. So you started with that one property. Are you going to ever sell that one that you're so like attached to?
When it makes sense. I mean, again, I keep saying not my playbook, but when you don't have a large family backing, what you do is you buy one one residential property at a time. So, which I have several, right? So it's the package. You buy them, you buy them, you buy them. Eventually, you sell them and move up to multifamily if that's the game that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get all sorts of comments about real estate, I understand that there's multiple avenues. There's a buy and sell. There's a buy and hold. There's a short term. I just diversified my portfolio the way I'm involved, with each aspect of it. So we have various divisions within our investment company. So, but yeah, I got that one. When it makes sense, I will. I'll probably cry doing it, but
That's good
so.
though. You'll never, when you actually first bought that though, you'll never thought that like you get to the point where now, look what it's done for me.
Yep. And like
And
I
you let it
said, it's
go.
a great little investment property. I mean, that's the beauty of real estate, right? I had a tenant in there for 3 years, and then recently I signed up another tenant for 5 years. So
There you
it's,
go.
it's
A 5 year
and
lease.
a 5 year lease, and then it's 3 years
Damn,
prior to
locked
that.
them in. There you go.
It's a great business. And then, I mean, the other thing we can kind of conclude on is a lot of times people think that you got to know everything there is to know about housing, or they say, well, you're fortunate you came from the home improvement realm. I assure you that there's a lot of people out there that have more properties than me that didn't come from the home improvement, right? So it's just one of those things that people tell themselves once again to not get started, right? We come up with every excuse in the world to not start something, either whether reasons why not to invest or reasons why not to start that business, or at some point you're gonna have to make the leap. I mean, you're not people are not gonna be able to push you forever. You're gonna have to decide, well, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna believe in myself. And again, I keep mentioning that I have some mentors, but you can't ask for other people to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. If you're not driven, then you're gonna fall.
Yep. And that's the first thing people look at. I mean, it's they want to see if this person thinks they can do it. I mean, whether you don't do it or not, they just want to see that you're capable of trying. So, and again, it's like things like this. I hope people continue watching your videos and being guests on this, because this is so important to the world, right? I mean, it's so important for people. There's a million things you could be doing right now, but it's so important that people like yourself take the time to reach out to people to try and set this stuff up, and give people the information, right? I mean, so I think that's very valuable, for you to take the time to do this. So
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I'm trying for sure. That's what I'm trying to do. Is just trying to shape some perspective, get them to
mhm.
make that jump. Because I was there, and I know this is some stuff that would 100% help me. So that's all I'm trying to do is help the old me.
Yeah, I mean, again, to conclude, we can just say, just make the leap. Again, we're not saying quit your job by tomorrow. We're saying
Yeah,
put some plans in place and make the leap. Make the leap and just try it. So
absolutely, my man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the time you've given me as well.
I appreciate you. I'd love to come back on. Just let me know, and then we can go from there.
Absolutely, my man. We will. We'll
All
do
right.
another one. Good luck on your meeting too.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Have a great day.
Awesome. I love Louie's story. He's got a beautiful soul, a beautiful compassion for people by taking that extra step to create an experience for them so they keep coming back. And that's not really for them to keep coming back. That's just because he absolutely enjoys people and making sure that they have an amazing experience and that he knows that he's going to learn something as well from each individual that he has. So I love that. I hope you guys learned a lot from this episode, and we'll see you next time.